Jinn. Jinn are eerie. When I was about 9, I moved into a new house. Shortly after, I had a dream about the house across the street. In the dream, I walked in the front door of the house, looked up a staircase, and saw a tall being with hooves, gangly, sinewy legs, and broad, muscular shoulders, silhouetted at the top of the stairs. I was instantly filled with dread and awoke. Skip forward 3 years, I become casual friends with the girl M who lives in the house from my dream. I invited to a sleepover at her house, along with her other neighbor girlfriend, J, and M's cousin A. Was visiting with her brother and father from Iran, staying with family because her mother had left them and they needed the supports. So we all do some shopping, have dinner, and play around at our house. And inevitably, as the evening comes to an end, begin telling the true ghost stories and comparing paranormal experiences. M translates in Farsi for A. M's mom is also there and is casually dismissing everyone's claims as some adults do. Then come to my turn. I begin by telling them about my dream about her house and how strange it was that I was now there, and the stairs that were located in the same place were in my dream the same place. I described the lanky, muscular legs of the silhouetted being I saw, and how it filled me with dread. I pause and I hear soft crying. I glance around the room and realize A is crying and trying to hide it. M's mom says something to A in Farsi. A hesitantly replies. M's mom says, "The thing in your dream looked like that," and pointed to one of the many decorations on the wall. A large round metal engraving, depicting men engaged in a struggle with a being eerily similar to the one I experienced in my dream. Shocked, I said yes. M's mom then explains that it's a Jinn, and how they can always through certain types of house walls, wood but not brick maybe, can't recall. How they like to be mean-spirited for the most part, instigators and destructive forces usually, and then M translates, explaining to A that she sees them all the time. She says she wakes at night to see them curled up on the bed resting their heads on M, mischievously staring at her while she sleeps. That they sometimes bolt around corners when she walks through a house. She says her father had tried multiple times to kill himself because they follow him and her family, and this recent incident was a result of their cruel-hearted mischief. I didn't sleep that night, nor did I sleep any night after again. Side note, I want to go home afterwards. M convinced me to stay. Your house is like literally 50 feet away, don't be a wuss. We eat pizza, talk about other things. Just when I shake the anxiety, I hear a weird tinkling of bells. I stare wide-eyed at M, whisper, "What's that?" She leans back on one elbow, eating pepperoni pizza and munches. "Oh, that's just my mom blessing the house." Munch, munch. She's kinda like a witch, you know? Her mom, who was a pharmacist by profession, who bumped rap music in her Prius, and who once feigned an attempt to contact Kurt Cobain at a seance during a Halloween party, just to appease one particular insistent guest, was indeed a pretty solid lady. The Ghost Jinn Kid. I have another story to tell, but this story isn't about me, but a friend of mine that was disturbed by this Jinn Kid. Both of us are Muslims, so we believe in jinns and all that. In our belief, humans can't actually haunt us, because their soul cannot roam anywhere they like. They will stay in their grave until resurrection day. The only beings we believe that do all these hauntings are the jinns. It's okay to disagree with me. I'm just sharing my point of view because it is important to the story. I've explained about jinns in my other posts. Just to briefly explain them, they are a different race like angels. They are made from a smokeless fire. Humans are made from the earth. Angels are made from light. Jinns can live for thousands of years, and humans use them to do magic, to inflict pain or anything bad to others, or to just disturb them. If anyone here is curious about the jinns, you can Google it. The story. So the story about my friend. All this happened when we were about 15 to 16 years old. I used to go to tuitions at his house with some other friends. I'm going to call my friend Ziz. So Ziz is a quiet guy like myself in school. He wears glasses and he's very, very skinny. I believe that he was getting angry so easily during that time. He told me about the night when he saw something that he could not believe. I think he and his family was on a holiday or something. It was late at night and something woke him up. He heard his little brother laughing softly, playing with something near the door, and Ziz got off his bed and said to him to go back to bed. He tried to grab him at the same time, and he said to me that his hand went right through his brother. Ziz was scared when that happened and went straight to bed, but only to find out that his little brother was sleeping the whole time. I don't remember much details about this story, but he told me that really quickly, and it was years ago. I tried my best to remember. After that night, his family went back home from their holiday, and during that night, he saw the kid again, outside of his house. The Jinn had followed him to my friend's house. Ziz is the only one that can see him. He told me that the kid always bothers him, but nothing physical happened. Sometimes when Ziz was asleep in his room, he said that this kid is just standing there staring at him next to his bed. At this point, Ziz wasn't as scared as he was before, because this thing has been going on for months, and told the kid to leave him alone and did it for a short period. So, this was his routine for a few months. Then they called a Ustaz, kind of a priest, to get rid of this Jinn. The Jinn somehow made my friend angry most of the time, and this isn't his normal self. The Ustaz says that my friend was disturbed by this Jinn that was actually had been them for years, only recently it started to disturb them, especially the oldest son, my friend. His ancestor probably had a Jinn, and it was passed down to his family, and that's how they got it. The Ustaz had to close his third eye, the thing that caused my friend to see these kinds of things. The Ustaz finally got rid of it, and my friend went back to normal, and he said he never saw that kid again. I forgot some of the stuff that a Jinn did, but this is all I could remember. There's a lot of stuff happened, but they finally got rid of it, and never had anything weird happen to them ever again. Red-Eyed Jinn. Yet another paranormal experience. I woke up in the morning and there was light already coming in through the window. Every other time it has been dark, so I awake and I see this humanoid figure moving from side to side, checking out my bookcase as if looking for something. It looked as if it was in a hurry because it moved fast. The sky was dark, very dark, and it looked like some black smoke which had formed a humanoid figure. It said something to which for the life of me I can't remember, and it turned around and looked at me. If I could describe its body language, I'd say it was menacing. It had red eyes, of course. I was scared and shut my eyes, hoping I was in a dream, and I'd wake. But then I opened them again, and it was hovering over me. I closed them again, and then it was gone. Can't explain it. This experience took place many years ago, and it was way before I read up on other people's stories, claiming this thing was a Jinn, or shadow person or demon. Who really knows? All I know is, it didn't look like it wanted to make friends. Exorcism of a Jinn. Recent reading for someone who said I should share it all. In spirit, I experienced your energy from your disconnected crown chakra to your root as thick, heavy, slightly twisted and warped feelings. The good news was that the Jinn was attached to you, was more responsible for holding that state than you were. It was hanging out in your intestinal area, but latched onto your solar plexus, depleting you of a lot of your personal power. Under the protection and leadership of Archangel Michael, together with other powerful divine spirits, the Jinn was given the choice to peacefully move on with the option of being helped to advance spiritually or to be forcibly removed. Haven't met a spirit yet that chose the latter, but he didn't choose the former either. He explained that when he came to you with the good intentions to be of use, you came into a bad way mentally and spiritually, and you being much more physically powerful than he, turned his energy into a bad way. As a result, you two were tied in this sort of hell that I guess neither of you could fully get out of at times. Once he and you were spiritually separated, him voluntarily releasing you, he asked if he could still stay and proceed with his original mission to help you. He was apologetic and fully understand if you wanted him to go. He really only wanted to help, but apparently was not energetically ready for the challenge. I'm guessing he believes that he is now, and it's not a trick. He only means to do you good, and it is only when you hold your energy in certain negative ways you imprison him, which in turn imprisons you. You may want to ask yourself if you are in turn ready to give your powers of a genie, which means being ready to put your work in to keep yourself and your mind steady and balanced so that great good may be done, or do you have to give your gift back before it drains you? The Jinn awaits you, but not attached, asking you to first wish for him in this matter. Balanced, you are alone or powerful. Your energy feels like a solid pyramid with rounded corners. Ideally, a beam of divine golden light will be pouring down into and through your crown, but I did not experience that. I should note that I only read reality, the now, what is, not the past nor the future. So if you believe you do have a divine connection, consider why may I felt closed last night, or may not be as open as you believe. You have to feel different when you wake up this morning. Too much powerful energy was balanced and shifted. I hope you didn't start thinking right away when you got up, but got a chance to notice how you felt, or your dreams. Or I hope you read this, and it finds or reminds you of how you did feel when you woke up. If your mind is chatty, quiet it down, connect with yourself and your spirit, and note if you feel different. If not, let me know, giving it a day or two, and I'll recheck what's going on. Just checked you again as I'm about to close, and you feel golden. Give thanks to at least the divine and holy spirits. If you want to stay protected, open yourself up to Archangel Michael, and know that in exact instant, he is protecting you, unless your thoughts are chatty and getting in his way of protecting you. Lastly, I intuited, not by me, but a message for you, and I even cringed to write it, that you may want to consider changing your tag and conscious intention behind it to something closer to divine. This may do wonders for what you manifest moving towards. Toxic may be great for you, and something less toxic might be even greater. Peace and always blessings.